Bonjour mes amis, je suis l'Énergie Canadien and welcome back to another video. And instead of doing the normal history video or gaming video like you would normally see on this channel, I'm doing something a little bit different. Today I'm going to be reading for you. And I'm going to be reading this book titled All You Can Do Is Pray by James Spann. This book features some of the stories of the survivors of the April 27th, 2011 tornado outbreak within the state of Alabama. It features some of the events that occurred within that fateful day that killed 252 Alabamians and injured thousands, causing billions of dollars of damage throughout the whole tornado outbreak from the 25th of April to the 28th of April. So before I start, I do want to announce that now a couple things. First of all, I have a Discord server now, and I'll be putting the Discord server in the link. I'll be putting a link to it in the description, or you can find it in my About page here on YouTube. The second thing is I am doing a giveaway. That's right, I'm doing a graphic design contest on my Discord, in which whoever makes the best profile picture and or banner, there'll be two winners. They will win Nitro. I will be gifting the winners Nitro, with second place getting Nitro Classic, and the first place winner getting Nitro outright. It'll be a month though, because I can't really afford a lot right now, because college is about to come back in the fall, and I have to pay the tuition. So I wanted to get those out of the way now before I continued on with this. But I felt it was interesting to share. So if you do want to join on the giveaway, like I said, I'll leave a link to this Discord in the description, and all the requirements will be there for you to look. The giveaway ends July 1st, and the winner will be announced July 3rd. I'll announce it here on YouTube to announce the winner. So with that being said, with those announcements out of the way, I want to tell you about how I'm going to do this book reading. So we're doing 2 chapters of video. And after each chapter, I'm going to summarize it the best of my ability, because I'm not the best at summarizations for crap. And it's honestly going to be something. The further we go, the more in depth the explanations will get. But I'll try to keep it at bay. And I'll try to keep this, PG in case any teachers want to use it. If you do want to use it, do feel free to contact me. I'll leave a contact information like in my About Me page or in the description, something like that. So that way you are able to use it and we can work something out. So that being said, let's go on it. And I also want to give a shout out real quick to James Spann, the author of the book. He worked that event from the morning convection to about 10 o'clock that night Central. So he put a lot of work into that. He did a great job of that, and I saved the lives of thousands. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Chapter 1, The Season. And it includes with it a biblical quote, which I will now read. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. From Ecclesiastes 3:1. There are 2 well-defined areas where tornado activity tends to occur at a maximum across the United States: the Great Plains and the Deep South. I chuckle when I see researchers and practitioners arguing about who has the biggest, baddest tornadoes: Oklahoma City or Birmingham, Wichita or Jackson. To me, that dialogue isn't very productive. It's like 2 dogs fussing about which one holds the highest flea population. Let's just say that both regions feature some very productive tornado seasons. My focus is on the southern U.S. I am the chief meteorologist for the ABC TV affiliate in Birmingham and can testify to the magnitude and power of the severe weather events here. Since 1978, I have been forecasting and covering Alabama's weather, including countless tornado days. Around here for a long time, I would tell people we have 2 distinct severe weather seasons, one in the late fall and early winter, and another one in the spring. But I can also say I have changed my tune in recent years. My message is now that we have one primary tornado season, November through May. Yes, we can have tornadoes from June through October, but those are usually associated with landfalling hurricanes or tropical storms and are entirely different creatures. I just don't believe there is enough of a drop in tornado activity in January and February to not consider it part of a continuous severe weather season. During my teenage years, in the time I was falling in love with the science of meteorology, I visited the Pell City, Alabama tornado of January 10th, 1975, and the Tuscaloosa, Alabama tornado of February 23rd, 1975 taught me well about the convective potential for those 2 months. The Pell City tornado was rated F3 and was one at least 13 tornadoes that touched down across Alabama on January 10th, 1975. Five of those tornadoes were rated as F2 or higher. One person was killed and over 60 were injured. Below is the storm summary of the damaged area written by Bob Ferry, the meteorologist in charge at the time of the National Weather Service in Birmingham, which I will now quote. Friday afternoon, January 10th, 1975, a tornado moved northeastward across the center of downtown Pell City, Alabama, and stopped the First National Bank clock at 4:11 p.m. Many buildings, mostly homes, were heavily damaged by large trees, some 5 to 6 feet in diameter near the trunk, uprooted and fallen across them. Seven mobile homes were completely destroyed in a small trailer park, Smith's, which is about 1 mile northeast of Pell City. The Red Cross reported that 33 people were taken to the hospital for treatment, where only three were admitted. Those not too serious. There were no injuries in the trailer park because residents had taken shelter in a nearby brick building. None of the trailers had tie downs. 1 month later, the Tuscaloosa tornado, rated F4, on February 23rd, 1975, passed within 1 mile of me on that Sunday afternoon. A very close rendezvous with a killer tornado. I could still hear the roar. I was an 18-year-old college student working at WTBC Radio, the Big 1230 in Tuscaloosa, playing the hits. I received a tornado warning via a civil defense alert radio we had in the studio. This was before the NOAA weather radio was operational, and passed the warning along to our audience about 10 minutes before it rolled through the city and power was lost at the station. WTBC was on 15th Street, less than 1 mile west of the tornado path that cut through the southern and eastern parts of Tuscaloosa. There was particularly heavy damage near I-59 and McFarland Boulevard. Most of the upper floor on the Scottish Inn was torn away, killing one housekeeper named Velma Hill. Of the 7 months I consider tornado season, the highest occurrence comes in April. Alabama experienced 41 tornadoes in the month during the year 2020, bringing the April total since 1950 to 550. March is a distant second with 328 tornadoes during the same period. April is the month where the mid-latitude westerly winds aloft are in a perfect position to bring dynamic troughs with very strong wind fields in the upper atmosphere through the southern United States, interacting with warm, moist, buoyant air that has lifted northward from the Gulf of Mexico. Throw in a few small-scale boundaries, and the stage is set for violent weather. For those of us in operational meteorology, April is a month when you never plan a vacation. Don't even think about it. You don't want to be in the Bahamas when strong violent tornadoes are bearing down on Alabama. I do school science weather programs daily, sometimes two a day in the spring. But every teacher that books a program with me knows there is danger of a cancellation due to severe weather potential in April. And we all know that severe weather events don't necessarily come at convenient times. The big storms can roll in during the pre-dawn hours or on weekends. You have to be ready for everything at any hour of the day or night this time of the year. And for me personally, that is no problem. I believe I was born to do this, and it is my honor to work some odd, sleepless hours in an effort to mitigate the loss of life. My first vacation week every year comes in June when we have calmer days. Stop it. There you go. So that was chapter one. And pretty much chapter one is just him, kind of explaining his background. And it's just purposing like how he got into the game at the first place and how he got into meteorology and what really shaped his career into what it is now. And also introduce some of the sciences, that really causes these. He does his best. I think he does a hell of a good job at it. So we'll go to chapter two. Chapter two, the forgotten tornado outbreak. I am not a big fan of seasonal outlooks. Nothing wrong with them, I guess, and there are certainly many in our science who are qualified to issue them. Good examples are the hurricane outlooks issued in the spring that look ahead of to the tropical season in the land basin. The accuracy of them is less than stellar, and I wonder how those products are used by the public emergency managers. All you need is one big hurricane striking a major coastal city. We have to be ready every hurricane season, whether you have 15 hurricanes or just one. To my knowledge, there are no official tornado seasonal outlooks, but many do offer their opinions. Most tend to look at the ENSO or the El Nino Summer Oscillation phase, but the correlation is not very precise. The record-setting tornado outbreaks during April 2011 took place within a global climate context of lingering La Nina conditions, cold phase of the summer oscillation. But according to NOAA's Physical Sciences Laboratory, their analysis covering 1950 to 2003 found that neither the frequency of the tornado days nor the violent tornado days is a 5 or more F2 plus tornadoes is affected systematically by the ENSL phase for the United States as a whole. A separate investigation that used data for a shorter period of 1950 to 1992, but covering all the seasons, argued that La Nina events did increase tornadic activity in the Ohio River Valley in the Deep South during spring, and that La Nina facilitates large tornadic outbreaks and is associated with more destructive storms. The bottom line is that more research is required to determine the extent to which La Nina itself is a meaningful, useful early warning indicator for U.S. severe weather. As a result, going into the spring of 2011, like always, we were ready for anything that would happen, but I possess no knowledge of the historic events to come as April began. On April 11th, a short-lived EF1 tornado moved through parts of the Vestavia Hills in the southern part of the Birmingham metro area. It was down for about a third of a mile and knocked down over 100 trees. Thankfully, there were no injuries. There was also considerable street line damage across parts of Jefferson and Shelby counties. Based on what we know now, it seems like this event was a harbinger, an anticipatory sign of what was to come. Just 4 days later, on April 15th, Alabama would experience a red-letter severe weather day, one for the record books. This was the middle day of a 3-day outbreak that struck across the plains to the east coast of the U.S. during April 14th to 16th. During this event, a total of 178 tornadoes touched down in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Missouri, Illinois, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, and Pennsylvania. A total of 38 people lost their lives, and another 588 people were injured. On that Friday, April 15th, a total of 45 tornadoes touched down across Alabama, most of them concentrated over the southwest counties of the state. One EF3 developed west of Mountainville, near the point where Hale, Greene, and Tuscaloosa counties come together along the Black Quarry River. It would go on into the southern and eastern parts of the city of Tuscaloosa. Along this path, damage consisted of snapped or uprooted trees and structural damage to homes and businesses. The tornado lifted near the Mayfair Drive, south of Veterans Memorial Parkway. The tornado path was 18.37 miles long and was 500 yards wide at its widest point. Thankfully, a timely warning was issued. People were paying attention, and there were no deaths or serious injuries. However, our state, I freaking lost what I was. Sorry. Thankfully, a timely warning was issued, and however, our state did experience loss of life that day. Another EF3 struck at Boone's Chapel community in far northern Ontario County. This twister was the third one to affect the same general area that day. 3 people were killed and 4 seriously injured as the tornado destroyed their manufactured home. In all, at least 50 homes and 1 business were either destroyed or significantly damaged by this one. Again, I believe the weather events of April 15, 2011 were a harbinger. The atmosphere was talking to us, telling a story, letting us know that it was capable of producing with the juxtaposition of atmospheric frosty waves and moist, unstable air from the Gulf of Mexico. The April 15, 2011 event is called the Forgotten Outbreak. Yes, those directly impacted by the tornado that day remember for most albumin, it simply doesn't register because of what happened 12 days later. And chapter 2, now is chapter 2. Just to summarize that one, it's just talking about the April 15th outbreaks, 12 days prior to that mega outbreak. And that one was less significant on a scale, but it was still significant enough to be considered an outbreak. So in short, that is what we learned about the 2 days, 2 chapters. Now I'll pause it here. In the next video, we'll go over chapters 3 and 4. Thank you guys for watching. Bang Lee, et au revoir.